I go by DJ Umami. Music has definitely been healing in my journey of life. I've had my trauma and painful moments in life, and the one thing that's been consistent in grounding me is definitely music. I didn't sound like what they sounded like. They were watching all of the videos and learning how to scratch, and I was like, this is not for me. Down the road, it ended up catching on to me because I had the mentors to teach me.
Hey, I'm here with DJ Umami, and we're going to talk a little bit about her journey as an entrepreneur and a musician and a DJ. And the first question, let's go ahead and start talking about your experience in the Bay Area as a DJ, how it shaped you, how it shaped your music, and maybe touch on some of the challenges.
I am well known to be the resident DJ for the San Francisco Giants. But I think I just am known to be like a DJ here in the Bay Area. I used to DJ for the Golden State Warriors, but I've DJed all over. I do a lot of corporate events, private events, weddings, nightclub events. My dad played a lot of soul records in the house, and I remember like one of my breakthrough hip hop artists was Lauryn Hill. Obviously, like he was playing a lot of Roberta Flack, and then I heard "Killing Me Softly." Then I started becoming curious about samples, and I guess it just spawned into a DJ career somehow. I think if we fast forward through that journey of the love of music and music discovery, that's kind of the love story of it.
Were you using a digital recorder? Were you ripping the music? Or what's your process?
Well, the first time I've like realized samples existed, was it was a cover of Roberta Flack, Lauryn Hill's cover of Roberta Flack's "Killing Me Softly." And then I remember like I really got into the album by Tribe Called Quest, Midnight Marauders. And then this compilation came out called Tribe Vibes, and that had Red Clay on it and a bunch of different like jazz samples, and it brought that nostalgia back to me where it was like, oh, I'm rooted in a lot of like soul and jazz. And so I think that's where my curiosity for samples, and then also discovering other artists that I didn't know of, and trying to think like, I remember at the time I was like, ooh, I'm such a jazz head. I know about Red Clay. But yeah, like even to this day, I stay curious about like where a song is, like their story, the samples of music. I have like stories that like excite me that I could like talk about for days.
Can you share your experience as a resident DJ for the San Francisco Giants and Golden State Warriors?
It's so much fun and a huge honor. When I first got the position to be the resident DJ for the San Francisco Giants, because with the Warriors, I'm kind of like their secondary DJ. Like I would DJ outside during postseason. If the main DJ was like sick or had something to do, I would cover. Or if it was like women's night or Filipino Heritage Night, they'll be like, hey, can you come in and DJ in game? And I was happy with that. I was completely honored with that. And when the opportunity came with the Giants, to be very honest with you, like I knew that they were using me and a different DJ, and that DJ was, in my eyes, the most elite. And I thought I would kind of have the same role of being their secondary DJ. And so when I was asked to be their primary DJ, I was just kind of like, what, are you sure? And now it's my, I think, 4th season with them, and it's just been so much fun. The fan support has been like the best part. I DJ in this area section called the 415 Club, and it's in the outfield, and they put me in the middle of this area and people come in and like dance around me. Like it's almost like a boiler room style party in the couple minutes that I get to DJ during the game.
That is awesome. And then like you are, I don't know, I think of something like baseball, such an old school kind of thing, you know. You have things like the organists and all that stuff. And then you have a DJ, and that's sort of like modernizing it in a way, but it's also like you're part of the heritage.
Yeah. It's cool. And like I feel like we've created some new traditions at the ballpark. I play like during right after the seventh inning stretch song, "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." So everybody knows after that part, I go on and they come in and like party, and it's so cute.
And you have a very strong belief in the healing power of music. It's part of your gig, part of your brand. What does that mean? How do you define that? How do you know?
I do 100% agree with that. And I think that there's studies that are coming out now talking about frequencies and how those heal people. And I can't speak too much on it, but from experience, music has definitely been healing in my journey of life. And not to get too deep into it, but like I've had my trauma and painful moments in life, and the one thing that's been consistent in grounding me is definitely music and healing me. Like there's like a cathartic thing with music when you listen to a sad song and you're sad and you're like crying with it, that it is just like a release for you.
And your culture is a big part of what you do, and how has it impacted or influenced you in your career?
So I'm of Filipino descent, Filipino first generation, Filipino American. And I think in the Bay Area, I mean, I'm just going to say it and please don't anyone come for me, but like Filipinos dominate the DJ scene out here. And yeah, a lot of my influences came from Filipino DJs. Shortcut here, he's a local DJ here, and he's definitely been someone I've looked up to for a really long time, and then has become a friend and a mentor. And to this day, like a lot of the things that he's told me about DJing in my path has continued to influence me and my journey and how I DJ. I mean, the people that taught me how to DJ were all Filipino. Like it started, I had a neighbor across the street when I was like 10 years old. He had turntables, and I used to go to his house and play piano. We were like very like music inclined friends. And then he got turntables, and I was like, whoa, what do you guys do with these? Can I try? And I didn't sound like what they sounded like because they were like scratching and they were watching all of the videos and learning how to scratch. And I was like, this is not for me. And then like, down the road, I guess it ended up catching on to me because I had the mentors to teach me.
I know humility is a big part of your culture, and obviously your parents want what's best for you, but like, how was it dealing with like that pressure of like having like support, but like I'm guessing they wanted you to probably go a certain way, or were they just kind of open to what you wanted to do?
What they're like ask of me from what I recall when I was really young were very unreasonable. It's like, you are going to become a nun. I'm like, what? Or you're going to marry a doctor, something like that. Like, this is what I recall my parents saying to me. And I think the best thing that I could have done for myself was to be myself and just ignore everything that they were saying, because it was just very ridiculous. I knew I wanted to be educated. I knew I wanted to do something in music. I liked music a lot. I like sports a lot. And I don't know, I guess it just kind of manifested to what I do now. And that's kind of cool.
Okay, so talk us through, your take on the current environment and climate for being a DJ. Like, how is the industry changing? How is AI changing your role as a DJ?
I think people got used to being inside, and so less people in my opinion, at least maybe in my generation, go out now. Like I saw a friend that used to go to every event recently, and I saw him out the other day, and I was like, where have you been? He's like, you know what? Since the pandemic, I'm just like more comfortable being inside. And furthermore, a lot of people are streaming like DJs and just kind of listening to them in their own way. Um, Not to say that the nightclubs are not and parties are not as busy. I think it's just a little different now. DJs are shifting to record their sets more, right? And have people, the crowd behind them versus like when it was just like the crowd in front of them and they did their thing. A lot of DJs like this like aesthetic of having the crowd, people behind them partying. And then I'm also noticing like DJs are doing things like recording their sets at like random places like a bakery. It's just so weird. And I'm like seeing these trends and I'm like, dang, like how did we get here? And I do blame the pandemic.
Talk about your journey as a woman in a male-dominated industry.
I think that the DJ community is growing more. There's more females that are in the game, and I think that like we're kind of starting to topple over as the majority, I want to say, at least from what I noticed. People like to watch a woman DJ or be in a space that's male dominated, right? I think the challenge is there's still like microaggressions and like I hear it sometimes like, oh, she's only getting this gig because she's a girl. Like those things will still come through, but I see them less. I think people are more open-minded. Like I think whenever a woman does anything, there's a lot of criticism and just navigating that is interesting, but I think it's getting better. I've seen it get better, and I think it's because more women are joining the DJ forces. Just like historically, I've always wanted to do things that mostly boys did. Like when I was little, I wanted to play flag football, and my mom was like, "Why?" I was like, "Because there's no girls doing it."
And then I guess before we wrap up, I'm just curious if you have any advice for any aspiring female DJs.
I think just, this is a job. Like, we still work hard, be on time, those things. I think surrounding yourself with other creative people is important. Also surrounding yourself with people that will be honest with you is so important. Like one of my best friends and mentors to this day, like will be like, that was a bad set. You know what I mean? And that is invaluable when somebody tells you the truth about something, and learning how to take that criticism. And as artists being very sensitive people, like if you can navigate that and improve upon those things with somebody that's going to be brutally honest with you, I think that will give you some that will give you some like a path to grow, if that makes sense.